It's about time we take out the foot. Here's your look at the new NECA toys. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles in Time, Foot Soldier. Following up on their first arcade game-based TMNT figures, NECA turns to the second Turtles game from the classic 1990s Turtles in Time video game. All feature special deco that recreates the pixelated look of the video game, and come in individual window boxes with graphics from the original arcade cabinets. Well, let's not waste any more time than we have to. I'm here all day. We're going to first figure out how tall the Foot Soldier stands from the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time figure line from NECA Toys. Speaking of NECA Toys, I'd also like to send a big thank you to the folks over at NECA for nicely sending this sample my way. If you are looking to pick up this one for yourself, don't blame you, and you're curious as to how tall the figure stands, more than happy to oblige. 6.6 inches in height. And in centimeters, that works out to be 16.8, so a little over 16.5 centimeters tall. And while you're in the market for size comparisons, I'm in the market to be more than happy to provide that. There you go. On either side, there is Donatello, there is Leonardo, respectively, for the other two figures that we've already had a look at. This now leaves Slash. I left Slash for the end because I'm most excited for that figure. That's a brand new sculpt, so I'm really excited to see what NECA's going to be doing and delivering with that. But you can kind of see how the Foot Soldier stacks up to the other two turtles that we've already had a look at. You may also be looking in the market for some size comparisons, maybe to how this one looks versus the other cartoon Foot Soldier. And you can really drastically see left to right, side to side, how very different they are to one another. This has really, in a good way for NECA Toys, given them the opportunity to reuse a mold that they really didn't have planned, I'm sure, for anything else. As you can see here to the right, the Foot Soldier that we will be having a look at obviously doesn't look anything like it does from the cartoon. So NECA would have to go back and retool and redesign it for the cartoon counterpart. So again, it was a good opportunity for them to re-release this guy, or I believe re-release this guy because he was released before with the arcade standalone convention exclusives, but give him another coat of paint, so to speak. And of course, some pretty cool accessories as well. And those accessories just happen to be a nice little rocket sled for the Foot Soldier himself. And you probably will see that it's not quite the same one that we got with the other turtles. Didn't mean to startle you. This is what the other turtles' sleds look like. You can very much see how different the Foot Soldier is than, say, Donatello. Leonardo's would just be exactly the same. Of course, the purple would be swapped out for blue, but the sleds themselves couldn't be any bit different. You flip them around, that's what they look like on the back side there. They still have the little fin located, of course, on the back, and the little peg hole to support the adjustable ball joint. But other than that, I mean, the sleds themselves couldn't be any bit more different from one another. We'll put the turtle one to the side. I just want to look at this one right here. I like the look of this one. It's really neat and streamlined. The back of it looks like something I would have seen from like one of those, you know, those 80s movies where it wants to be in the future, and the future generally is like 1990 or 2000. It looks like something I would have seen, like a car going by, some futuristic car, maybe a Blade Runner car. But the back is pretty neat. That I like the little texturing that they've done on the back of it. I first thought of all things it was actually a sticker, but you can see, no, it's been sculpted in place, this little grill area. Speaking of this, I mean, like, we're looking at these right now, and the first thing I'm also thinking of is I want to think it's was it the teenagers from Dimension X, where is it, the neutrinos? I think they also had of course, the hover cars. I would love to see NECA approach one of those hover cars. I'm spinning off with all these ideas that I'd love to see the company approach. I'm sure it's something in the pipeline, something that they're planning to produce for themselves. This one's neat also, and something I didn't mention with the turtles, if you look at the side of it, they've got this little reflective beam of light. It's an area where it's reflecting off the side of the sled. The turtles had it, and the Foot Soldier also has it as well. The sled, the foot part of the sled, of course, the branding calling card that you know it's there, so you're not just going to take it by accident. I wouldn't take a foot soldier's rocket sled by accident. You know bad things are going to happen. But this is actually impressed in, if you get the impression. It's painted nicely, although the yellow probably could have used another coat of paint. But the fact that they would have even painted the individual little tiny toes, that's pretty cool. Of course, the foot soldier will be standing on top of this. And of course, in order for them to stand properly, you can't just hope that magic allows this sled to float, unless you have the means for dark magic. I don't know. Don't knock on my door, whatever you do. We're going to go ahead, though, and it also comes included with this plastic funnel. The funnel has a ball joint up the top there, and as you've seen with the other ones, we just wiggle this in place. Just wiggle, 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 and that will pop into place. I do notice, though, with specifically the foot soldier, I have to apply a little bit more pressure to it. But the end result is you've got a very firm, affixed hoverboard. It's not going to be going anywhere. And of course, you can have some articulation for the fact it is attached to a ball joint. You can move it left and right, up and down, and all that good stuff. So he does come with that. We'll put that right to the side. His main weapon of choice, he actually comes with two. I just left the other thing off for the time being. He does come with it's kind of a laser rifle. It so happens to be also the same laser rifle that came included with the foot soldier 2-packs, or the foot soldier that came with the respected turtle has come with these as well. I think Rocksteady and Bebop might have also come with one of these. But you can see that they are identical to one another, except for a different shade of color. The blues and grays now replace the grays and the lighter kind of grayish white color. But other than that, I mean, there's not much that's really different. They've gone in and cell shaded it, so it kind of gives it a more video game look. You can even see the opening there of where, don't be looking straight at it. That's probably not a good idea. But it's definitely a little bit more video game colored. This will fit into the foot soldier's hands, as well as this will. This is the longer, broader blade. It's not quite, I'm sure, a katana, but it's certainly a sword of some sorts. And it's got a nice little edge to it as well. It's not sharp. I shouldn't even joke about that. It's been painted really nicely, where the hilt has been done in a more shinier black plastic, and the blade itself isn't quite even gray. It actually comes across a little bit more like a grayish beige. I wonder if they've done that so they can keep the edge along the top a little bit more lighter, and the blade along the bottom a little bit darker. And this also fits into the foot soldier's hands to essentially pull off all the stuff I've just mentioned. And that's quite a short list, but a list, of course, we need to address. Foot soldier also comes included with hands. Congratulations, humbled reviewer. He actually does come with hands, but these are the hands. These are the hands that change the world, and of course want to take over the world. I mean, he's not going to hold a blaster without these. They are just simple gripping hands, but certainly with the foot soldier as it is right now, he ain't holding squat. So you're just going to go ahead and wiggle the hand off. Of all the hands I've met in the world, this seems to be the hardest hands to pop off their ball joints, or just pop them out of the sockets. Applying more pressure than I thought I needed to pull that out. And we'll just go ahead and pop the hand back into place, the hand that we want to use, the one with the open grip. There we go, just wiggle that back into place. And we'll do the same. Eric, give me strength. We'll just pop that off as well. There we go. Wiggling definitely is the key. No, I don't mean wiggling your rear end, but I guess if that helps you get those fists off, there we go. And you've got the foot soldier with his gripping hands. And then from there, you, of course, can either display him with the sword in hand. This involves maybe a little bit of prying of the fingers away. Don't mean to pry, but sometimes you just have to. And you can get the sword into his hand, or you can do the exact same thing with his blaster as well. Again, just want to pry those fingers just away from themselves, ever so slightly. And then you can just go ahead and get the blaster. I don't know if this actually has a correct term for this specific rifle. I'm sure when it came to designing this for the cartoon and the game, they probably just said laser gun. I want to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more elaborate with describing this, but I guess ultimately we're just going to call it a laser rifle. Pew, 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 pew. You can see, yes, he holds both in his hands. And like I started this opener of this review with, I'm probably going to be displaying the foot soldier, obviously, on his hover sled, because why would I pass the chance to display him with that? And I'll likely just display him with the... Whoa, don't point that right at me. Over there, thank you. Probably just display him with the rifle in his hand. Okay, so we'll take all that stuff off after it's all said and done. We'll just pop that off of his hand. There we go. And we'll just put that right to the side. And obviously, I say obviously, you guys probably aren't aware of what we're going to be talking about. I'm just going to move that to the side. Obviously, I'm going to bring in once again the cartoon foot soldiers so you can see just how drastically different these are from one another. Now, I missed my opportunity, as opportunities usually present themselves for convention exclusives. I'm nowhere near those conventions at the time that they happen, so getting them sometimes is next to impossible, and I missed my chance to get the original arcade turtles, which I believe came with arcade foot soldiers. I think there might have been two different colored foot soldiers. This one just happens to be purple. I would imagine maybe, as with the other turtles in time, they probably are going to be giving us more foot soldier in different colors and different decos. But this one is very much different than the one that we've gotten from the cartoon. Like, the heads are very different. The torso's very much different. I bet the only thing that's really the same to this, I can't even say is really the arms, is possibly even the legs. The legs themselves seem like they're similar enough. Perhaps even the feet are also similar enough to one another. But everything else about it seems very different. The skirting also possibly could be the same. These pieces right here, they seem also to share similar wrinkles. That's about the only way that I can tell that they look identical to one another. But other than that, I mean, these foot soldiers couldn't be any bit more different. We'll move this one out of the way. This one does have an interesting enough look to it. On the packaging, however, I noticed that they had a darker shade happening around the very bug eyes of the yellow eyes on the foot soldier here. Maybe some additional shading would have helped just to make those eyes stand out. I mean, obviously, they stand out quite easily on their own, but that little bit of shading like they actually had on the back of the packaging, I think really could have accented these eyes quite a bit. Of course, the rest of the foot soldier, the tried and true block effect of the pixelated look that NECA has been doing with all of their Turtles toys, they have also incorporated here into the foot soldiers as well. It's not as drastic to the extent of the Turtles, for example. We'll bring in one of the Turtles so you can see, where the Turtles have essentially three colors working for them. The foot soldiers only rely on two, the main color of the black and then of course the additional gray, which the gray has also been pixelated. The same thing also has been done for the top of the tunic. This section right here has also got that little blocked effect. The blocked effect, the blocked effect, you know what I meant. But again, like, the colors are very much more subtle here. You get a little bit more happening down here than you had happening upstairs. Down below is where you get all the additional lighter highlights and lowlights of color, where those squares sort of intermingle with one another. Slightly darker shades here to the lighter shades happening on the back section there. He's, of course, a little bit smaller, as you'd already saw from the other cartoon turtles. The other cartoon foot soldiers, this one's just a little bit shorter in contrast, a little shorter in size. For his articulation, though, his head rotates all the way around and also moves down. Now, that's not even before we start talking about the neck. What about the neck, says somebody from the back of the crowd. You're very excited about necks, my friend. Well, the other thing is the necks also have some additional ball joints, too. So in actual fact, you can rotate this part of the neck all on its own before you even start touching the head. And then from there, the head also has some additional articulation. So it does allow for the head to kind of tilt a little bit further down what it would normally be able to if it was just simply just the ball joint in the head. The torso does have a waist swivel. Doesn't seem like it's actually a ball joint as much as it just swivels back and forth. The arms hinge out at about a 90-degree angle. That's about as far out as I'm willing to go with it. It seems like it wants to stop there. This one stops slightly short, but about a 90-degree bend. The arms go forward, a little on the tight side. The arms go back, a little on the tight side. And he also swivels at the bicep with a double hinge happening on the elbow. You see that right there? See it? Good. Excellent. I want you guys to be able to see everything that's going on. Hands rotate, whatever hands you decide to go with on this particular piece. The legs split out. Thank goodness the skirt is split the part of the tunic is actually split, where you can actually still get a full splits going for the foot soldier, although I don't know, again, how many foot soldiers are going to be actually doing that. Forward and back on the legs, they swivel. A swivel basically where they're connected to that peg at the top there. He has a double hinge on the knee. I say him, I mean, I don't know if foot soldiers necessarily have a gender. It would just be it, I suppose, more than anything else. And the feet also rock back and forth. A good actual generous amount of ankle pivot happening with the foot soldier. And unlike the turtles, these guys actually possess toe articulation. Not much, mind you, but they do have some toe articulation as well. Getting this guy all wrapped up, ready to go. There we go. We'll just flatten out his feet. Put him down right there for a second. There we go. And we'll bring in his very cool looking rocket sleds. This would certainly be, as with the other foot soldiers have been the case of, I would want to get more of these. The idea of maybe displaying the turtles on the one side, you know, at the beginning of the level, making their way through, and some of the droneless, faceless, nameless foot soldiers. This one happens to be Johnny, but most of those would also be, of course, on this side. I'd like to recreate that. Of course, that would involve picking up more of the foot soldiers, but they are really, of course, for army builders. You can't really get any bit better than foot soldiers. I mean, obviously making them robots work very good, especially in the arcade game and the video games, because you can just destroy them, just blow them right up. I wouldn't want to blow up these ones quite literally, but I definitely would want to get more than one of these to put on display with the turtles. Now, obviously, it would get pretty boring to fight the exact same colored foot soldier through all the various levels of turtles in time. Yeah, that would get pretty boring. Thank goodness the video game developers who designed the game gave us different colored foot soldiers depending on whatever weapons they were possessing. They did that also with the arcade game as well. So there wasn't just purple. There was purple, blue, pink, orange, white, yellow, and even green. It obviously opens the door for NECA Toys to also do the exact same thing with this exact same mold. They've experimented that before with the arcade version turtles, which were the convention exclusives, and sadly this guy never got the chance to pick those ones up. I can now live vicariously through these ones, so I'm hoping that NECA Toys will be giving us different shades of foot soldiers with their corresponding weapons like they have in the game. That would definitely be very enticing to want to pick up even more of these, and you can probably see how a shelf space would be very quickly overrun by foot soldiers, which is, in this case, not necessarily a bad thing. The good news also, if you guys were looking to pick up these ones, you don't have to be trekking to a convention. No way, Jack. Instead, you just have to be going to your local Target stores, which seems to be the best place right now to be picking these ones up for yourselves. We don't have Target here in Canada, and I don't think Toys R Us is planning on stocking these anytime soon. So the off chance could be that, much like the cartoon turtles eventually circulating their ways to comic stores, that might be your best bet. Or if not, you may have to order these ones online if you don't have a Target in your area. And thank goodness the folks over at NECA Toys were nice enough to send this sample my way. I was able to showcase this one for you guys, my humbled reviewers. This humbled reviewer would like to also say, if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that bell notification. And make sure as well you stay tuned to this channel, because obviously we're going to be having a look at Slash. I say obviously, maybe you guys didn't even know that. Okay, I'll just give it away. We're going to look at Slash in the next coming review. Yay, says somebody in the back of the crowd. I like the way you think. Definitely stay tuned, my friends and members of the mob. We're going to have a whole lot of stuff coming your way, a whole lot of NECA reviews, and as stated, we're going to be having a look at Slash in the upcoming review, and I'm really excited for that one. For more nostalgic reasons, I'll talk about a little bit more of that when we have a look at the figure. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.